Hello friends, welcome back to my tiny kitchen. I have another recipe to share with you. Again, it's really simple and I was a little intimidated to try it for the first time because it sounded intimidating to me, but it turned out to be so easy and so delicious, so I'm very excited to share it with you, and that is fresh homemade pasta dough. So let's get started. Okay, so here are our ingredients that we're using for our basic pasta dough. Simple, easy. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 eggs that I'm going to beat to mix, 1 teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt. Anytime I'm cooking, I'll use kosher salt. And then when I'm seasoning afterwards, I'll use maybe a sea salt. And this is 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So we're going to beat the eggs to mix, and then we're gonna add it all together in a big bowl. All right, so we have our mixing bowl, and I'm gonna add the flour. I know a lot of people for proper pasta use like semolina or a certain weight of a flour, but like I said, I'm just a home cook and I like to keep things as simple as possible, so we're just using all-purpose flour. And I have my beaten eggs, put it right in there. And our 1 teaspoon of salt and olive oil. So we got all that in there nice. And now we're going to mix it. I just mix it with a fork until the dough is kind of together and like kind of shaggy, kind of like, you'll see. All right, so that's what your dough is gonna look like, nice and shaggy. And then I'm gonna use my stand mixer. Of course, you can, after this, you can just roll it out on a lightly floured surface and knead it until it looks like what I'll show you in a few minutes. Okay, please keep in mind that I am not a professional lighting or camera person or anything like that. So I tried to get this at an angle, the best angle to show you how to mix your pasta dough. So I have my stand mixer and the dough attachment, the dough hook attachment. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna set it down, lock it in, and I usually put it just on stir, and it usually takes about 10 minutes to get where you want to be. And a little bit into it, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of water because I've noticed that helps the dough become a little bit more elastic. Okay, so we have our nice little elastic dough ball, nice and squishy and pliable. And now what we do, we want to let it rest. So we have, just take a little bit of plastic wrap, saran wrap, whatever. And this is not saran wrap, by the way. It really isn't. And then we're going to wrap it up tightly and we're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. Okay, now our pasta has rested for 30 minutes, our pasta dough, I should say. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to just take a knife and cut it into 4 equal sections. They don't have to be perfect, of course, because they're all gonna taste the same anyway. It's all gonna taste delicious. And then I'm gonna set these aside. Moving forward. And then what I have here is a bowl to, after I flatten the pasta, I like to have a floured bowl so it'll catch, you'll see, it'll catch the fettuccine that falls and doesn't make it all the way. You'll see what I'm talking about. But now we're going to roll the pasta flat with my pasta roller. Set it at 1, which is the largest setting, and let's get started. Okay, so what I like to do is, like I said, I put the flour, get this a little dusting of flour so it doesn't stick. And then again, I turn it on stir. And we're just gonna feed it through the pasta roller. And then you wanna fold it and run it through a couple more times. See, it's getting nice and flat. And when you fold it, you want to put the folded part at the bottom, otherwise it'll get air bubbles when you run it through. You want the air to come out. I feel like it's kind of getting sticky again, so I'm going to put a little bit more flour on it. I'm going to fold it one more time. And now I'm going to change the setting to 3 and run it through a few times. And you don't have to fold it after you've done the folding on this first setting. I like to do about 3 times per setting. And you can make this as thin as you like. I'm gonna change up the setting again. You just keep doing this. I'll change it to 5. Keep doing it however long you like, however thin you like your pasta. And you'll do this for all 4 sections. Oops, I forgot to change it back to 1. That happens. What are you gonna do? Just fold it up and keep going. Okay, so now I have changed out the pasta roller for the fettuccine cutter. And if you don't have a pasta rolling machine, you know, you can also roll it out with a rolling pin as thin as you want. What I do with the sheets after is I put them on a little pasta drying rack, which since I'm just, one ring circus, I only have one camera right now, but you will see my fancy drying rack. I'll show you. So now they're on the rack. I'm gonna feed them through the fettuccine cutter and we will have delicious fettuccine. All right, let's make it a pasta. And you'll get to see why I have this bowl, this dish here. See? Catches all the short little ones that aren't long enough for me to grab. All right, so we have our little scraps that weren't long enough for me to catch, so they're, sitting in the dryer. And just wait until you see my very fancy drying rack. Here it is, my very fancy drying rack. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I have a very tiny kitchen, so I usually have to improvise when it comes to things like this. And yes, I clean it each time before and after I use it. I usually will cook my pasta immediately after I make it. If you want to pre-make your pasta, you can do that. You'll just let them dry for a couple of minutes before dusting them very generously with flour so they don't stick together. And then you can kind of twist them up into little pasta nests and wrap them and store them in the refrigerator for 2 days, or it'll keep in the freezer for 2 weeks. And that's it. Super simple, easy pasta recipe. I hope you feel like you can make it. I hope you will make it. And even if you don't have a pizza roller or cutter, use your rolling pin or a pizza cutter in whatever shape you like. It will taste just as delicious, I promise. And for my next recipe, I'm going to show you what you can make with that pasta. And I hope you come back and enjoy. Thanks for coming to my tiny kitchen. Please like, please subscribe, tell your friends, and comment. Let me know what you would like to see me try to make, because I love being in my tiny kitchen. I'll see you next time.